Please be advised that Little Miss Recap contains adult language. Yes. Like next episode, Che will be at a soup kitchen. I guarantee it. Feeding orphans. Hi everyone, welcome to Little Miss Recap, the podcast where we really and strongly discourage our children from having sex in our beds. I mean, that's just... LTW is on the right side of history here.
Yes, she is.
It's ridiculous, but whatever. Hi, I'm Amy Archer. I'm your host. I'm here with the lovely Leslie DJ, and as you guys know, every Friday we are here recapping in just like that. Leslie, how you doing?
I am doing great. I think that I don't know. I feel optimistic. It's funny because you did message me and I think you posted something about like, oh my God, dare I say this episode is good? And I was like, I'll probably hate it because I hadn't seen it yet. Because I went to see John Lovett, Love It or Leave It.
I know you saw Love It or Leave It. I love him. One of my favorite humans.
He was there, of course, and Isaac Mizrahi, Janine Garofalo, BD Wong.
Was Ronan there? Was Ronan there?
No, I don't think they're together.
Wait, they broke up?
I believe so. A long time ago, I believe. Because, I mean, I'm not sure. I can neither confirm nor deny because there was a point where they, Ronan was posting a lot of thirst traps and he was hanging out with a ton of guys and going on vacation, and John was not in any of those pictures.
And maybe they have an open relationship.
No, I don't think so. And John is looking like really hot. Like he is,
John Lovett,
getting his workout in, going all Hollywood. And
we are not talking about John Lovett, the comedian.
God, no, not from SNL. We're talking about the political commentator who was he a speechwriter for Obama?
I think he was a speechwriter for Hillary.
Hillary. But he did work for Obama.
He was Obama's speechwriter. You know why? Because they tease him because he wrote the infamous correspondence dinner joke. When Obama said something about Trump running for president, and that got Trump pissed off, and he ran for president. So they tease him. So he was an Obama speechwriter, but then he ran Hillary, like he was on Hillary's campaign. I remember that. Mm-hmm. But anyway, like he's hilarious, great guy. I really enjoy.
It's a great episode. I think it'll drop on Saturday, so tomorrow. So definitely check it out. Love It or Leave It. I think I might pop in. You might hear me screaming at one point because I was like, looking good. I was like, I was being obnoxious, but in a good way because I was giving him compliments. So it wasn't so bad.
Yes. So he was all about that.
Yeah, he was all about that.
Let's talk about our girls here, like just the state of this episode. Mm-hmm. I think it was decent.
This episode was an episode of Sex and the City. That's what it was. Let's just be honest. It really was.
And let me tell you something. I went back and I watched a few episodes from, I want to say season 4.
Season 4 is when they get re-engaged and back together. Yeah. Season 3 is the breakup. Yeah.
Cheating. Okay, so season 4 is when Steve and Aiden opened the bar.
Yes, season 4.
Okay, so I was watching those episodes. And when Miranda, now this was foreshadowing, Samantha had a lesbian lover. And she says lesbian lover, she calls her that. And Miranda is really kind of questioning Samantha about it and giving her kind of a hard time about it, which was interesting.
Yeah.
But the writing was so much better. Like
I think Samantha Irby was the one that wrote this episode. Yeah.
They were all talking in this past episode that I saw. Like they were talking about, what were they talking about? Relationships maybe, and Samantha not being able to be like intimate. Oh, Samantha's going, Maria, her girlfriend.
Yeah.
She's like, Maria, all she wants to do is talk. And she says, I have a problem with intimacy. And they're all like, oh no, why would she say that?
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, they were kind of, oh, I know what it was. And then Samantha gets a strap on. And Miranda's asking, in foreshadowing, a million questions about a strap on.
Yeah.
How does it work? What do you do? And like, it seemed like a genuine conversation that you and I would have with our girlfriends at a bar. You know what I mean? Like it was a normal conversation. And I was like, why can't we write like this anymore?
I don't know.
And then I realized like because you don't talk, like, in other words, they were in their 30s when they were talking like that.
Yeah.
So you still do talk like that, but maybe the topics have changed. I don't know. Something's not translating. But
I
this
mean,
episode felt better.
there are different stages of their lives because I mean, at this point, Charlotte has been married for like dare I say like 15 years at least or 16 years, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, you know, a lot of things have changed and now Miranda is questioning her sexuality, trying to figure out where she fits in and all
Mhm.
that. So, it's a different stage and I was one of those people because I know a lot of people were super excited when they heard about Aiden and all these things like coming back. I was on the do not bring him back camp because the first time around, I
Team
loved
Aiden.
him so much in season 3.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then he gets hot on season
Yes.
4 and she fucks it up again and breaks his heart. And I was just like,
Yeah.
don't do this to him. And then the abomination that is Sex and the City 2, the film that should have never existed.
Yes. Yes.
It's
Do we even need to talk about it?
another moment where I was like, why are you bringing Aiden back from the dead? Leave the guy alone. But
Well, and
then,
that's go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry. I don't mean to
But
cut you
then
off.
with this episode, I was like, oh, okay.
So here's my question for you. Knowing all of that, do you think this is endgame for Carrie? Do you think Carrie and Aiden are endgame?
I would hope so because it's like, why bring him back for a 4th time to like fucking break his heart? That's just mean.
Unless he breaks her heart.
Yeah, revenge.
Could be. I don't know. I don't know. I really enjoyed seeing him. John Corbett is smoking hot, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing him. I just love everything about him. His height, his little mullet he's got going in the back there, that little 8th grade mullet that I grew up with. I love him and I'm thrilled to see him back. But one of the things, two things I have to say in rewatching old episodes is I miss the voiceover
I
that
do
Carrie used to give
too.
us, the narration. It wasn't great, but it helped. And then the
Yeah.
other thing is they don't meet up as regularly, but like that's life, right? Like you have kids, you have you can't. Like I realize just my sister living in New York City and you having grown up in New York City, like you probably see us too. Like in your 20s, that's what you do. You go
That's
out to
all
eat,
you
you go
do.
out to
All
bars
you
with your
do.
girlfriends. That's all you do. So it's like I guess that just is unrealistic to think that's still happening at 55.
And I did listen to the Writers Room podcast, and they were talking about how fun it was for them to just have the 3 girls on their own having
Yeah.
these conversations because if they had any of the other new women, then they would have to kind of like do, you know, backstory and then this
Yep.
happened. And it's like, no, let's just get the core. And I was like, this is why it felt good because it was organic to this friendship and they weren't shoehorning in the other women.
I agree. All right, let's get to our recap. We are looking at And Just Like That, season 2, episode 7, called February 14th, which I appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do me a favor as I go through this? If you heard something interesting on the writer's room, chime in with it. Because I
Okay.
did not listen because you know how I feel about Michael Patrick King. I don't know if I
Okay.
can hear him anymore. So I'm just going to cover them again, character by character. Naya had almost nothing in this episode. I'm worried for her.
Yeah.
I feel like she doesn't have much going on. She's a brilliant actress. She's a good character, but they just can't tie her in, I
I
don't think.
feel like she might end up being one of those characters that if there is a season 3, they might not come back because it's like there's really no place for her.
Okay, I don't know if there's going to be season 3. What do you think? What have you heard?
Well, now with the whole writers and actors strike, if there were going to be one, it wouldn't come out until 2025 at
I
this
mean, to be
point.
fair, if these writers were on strike and they had to call in like an MFA thesis class, they could probably do that and write this show better. But, All right. So Naya, we only see like a few scenes of her. Her friends are calling her, offering to hang out with her on Valentine's Day. She tells them like, "No, it's fine. I'm making myself a chocolate souffle." And then she says, "I'm having a mevening."
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on mevening? Does it need to die? Should we throw it on the trash pile?
Me, I mean, it's
It's gross.
a little cutesy, but not like in a fun way. I don't know. The writer said something that they were like, they were basically honest, like we didn't know what the fuck to do with Naya. So they were like, we
Mm-hmm.
wanted her to be kind of like, they had an idea where they were gonna send flowers from Andre Rashad, or at least she was gonna think they were from him. And it would have been like a mistake if she was gonna like reach out to him, and then it would have been like, oh no, it was delivered to the wrong apartment. And I'm glad they scrapped that, because that would have been like a total mindfuck for her. And then it's like, do we really need to get into this? But instead, they were just like, we just want to give her like a happy, satisfying single gal, I'm okay with being alone moment. And everything turns out great because your souffle turns out great. So that was their take on it.
But thank you for that. Let me ask you this. If when she was on screen and she was delivering this, like, oh, you're my married girlfriends and you just want to check on me, but I'm fine. I have a wonderful evening planned. I'm making a chocolate souffle and I'm having a evening. Now, if you closed your eyes when she delivered that, you would swear Samantha Jones was saying it.
Yeah.
I feel like the absence of Samantha is really felt, and they keep trying to give her lines to other people.
Yeah, Seema especially. Samantha.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Samantha.
Yeah, it's weird.
Because that whole
Okay.
scene later on, yeah.
Okay.
Samantha.
So now we go to Anthony, and he sent Drew Barrymore a basket, and she apparently wants him and one of the hot fellows on the show. But after he discovers they're juicing with HGH, which he's like, this is not the Moscow Olympics, which I appreciate. I thought that was pretty funny. And he fires anyone who's juicing, and it's like all of them. So then we see Charlotte in a card store when Anthony calls her and he's in a panic. And she ends up running into a guy who she thinks would be the next hot fella and could go on the Drew Barrymore show with him. Because he's, this dude is selling poems for $1 in a bookstore. And I'm like, will you marry me? Immediately. Like, even later when he's like, I'm not a prostitute. Oh, wait, that's not the right. What's his accent? He's Italian.
He's Italian. I'm not
I
a
can't do that.
I
can do that one because I'm Italian, so I can be pretty offensive. Hey, I'm not the prostitute. I'm a poet. But anyway, I admire this dude's dedication to his poetry. This was me in middle school. I used to charge boys $1 for a poem that I would write to their girlfriends for them. So I love this enterprising attitude on this guy.
Never thought to do that.
Oh, yeah. And Charlotte comes up to him and she's like, I'll pay you $300 to do something different. And I'll pay you $300 and like to do something else. And he's like, So, I appreciate that. I thought that was pretty funny. He ends up on the show with Anthony and he puts on the onesie and his dick is so huge that no one, including Drew Barrymore, can focus.
It was awesome. Okay, this is my time to like geek out on Drew Barrymore. I fucking love her. Like,
I love her too.
It's a thing that I've loved her since I was a little girl, and I've connected with her because she went through so much, and then she's just so genuinely nice person. And her talk shows, it's so funny because there's no sense of boundaries, because she would like reach out to you and like cradle you if she has to, during the interviews. And I just love that it's so genuine and she's so sweet. And oh my God, I've been dying to meet her. It's like on my bucket list. I just need to meet her and thank her because her movies, like Never Been Kissed. That
Never
was
Been
like
Kissed.
my Bible.
I was just going to say it. You took the words right out of my mouth. One of the most amazing movies.
That was my Bible. I loved it so much because I think when it came out, I hadn't been kissed. So I was like, I get this. Or at least not in a meaningful way.
I love her. She always seemed very sweet to me. Yeah. I don't know. The Wedding Singer, come on. She's fantastic.
Yeah, she was even great on the TV show, the Netflix show, St. Clarita Diet. I thought it was great. She was like a zombie. I did not see that. It was really good. It's 2 seasons, but it was really good.
Okay. All right. So, all right, he ends up on the show. His dick is huge, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of double entendre, like, oh, your business is going to grow. How big is it going to grow? I didn't think it would be this big. It's going to be even bigger. So after the show, the guy's name is Giuseppe. And after the show, Anthony tries to hire him. And Giuseppe says, I'm not a prostitute. I'm a poet. And Giuseppe agrees to a 1-week trial. And like pretty much Anthony's like, name your price, dude. So do we think this is going to be a love interest for Anthony now? Because don't forget, Stanford's off banging something in China.
Yeah, Stanford and the writer's room did mention that Stanford is out doing whatever because the character lives on, off
Yes, of
screen
course.
because they want to
Yep.
honor Willie Garson, which is great. So, yeah, I think that they might try to turn this into something because he's really hot. And Mario Cantone could like act with a fucking broomstick and be
I know, he's
hilarious.
fantastic.
He's just
Here's the thing
amazing.
about Mario Cantone, though. I don't think he's acting. I
No,
think
that's
this is
just
how he
him.
really is. Yes.
I've met him and yeah, he
Yeah,
pretty much
like,
is
just
that
show up,
way.
dude, and say these things, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're gonna go on to Charlotte. So Charlotte and LTW are chilling at the school, and the kids are losing their minds because Rock is on a billboard. And I wrote, do they have billboards at schools?
Well, this is one of those like charging phone stations kind of thing where it changes the ad. It's like digital. So they do have those around the city, but
Yeah, but this is
not in
in a
that neighborhood.
schoolyard.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Yeah,
possible.
yeah. So Charlotte says all 3 modeling agencies want a meeting with Rock now. And also, she started an Instagram for Rock, and Rock already has 3,000 people, which it took her 6 months to get that many people for Richard Burton, which I'm all about Richard Burton.
He's so cute.
Oh, this is what I meant to tell you. I had a fantastic business idea. If I was Sarah Ramirez, I would start doing cameos as Che Diaz.
Oh my God. Hey,
And
it's Che Diaz.
Just think, I would order 10 of them for people that I wanted to just troll. Like, not seriously troll, but like friends.
Yeah.
Like, Leslie, you would be getting one, 100%.
Oh, I would love it.
Amanda'd be getting one. Stephanie'd be getting one. Everybody'd be getting one from me. Sarah Ramirez, this is your business opportunity.
Yes, do this.
Get on it. Get on it. Like, I would charge like $100 and just be Che Diaz be as Che can be.
Yeah, like the bad jokes, just over the top.
Like, you're gonna rock middle school. Whatever.
Go Leslie with your PhD.
I also think if I was a writer at Sex and the City or in Just Like That, I would start a little Instagram for Richard Burton.
I would too. That'd be cute.
He was cute. I would follow him. So later, Charlotte and Harry are making plans for their own Valentine's Day, and we learn that Lily was dumped by Blake, of course, because she put out 2 weeks ago.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Blake, you need to get your shit together. I don't know who you are, but get it together, dude.
He sucks. But we get to hear Taylor Swift, so that's awesome.
That's true. So she's having a fuck the boys party. Now it's Valentine's Day, and Charlotte is taking Rock around to the agencies for an audition. And when she has to wait, Charlotte goes all Karen. She really does. She does not have to dig deep into the well to pull that up. And she's like, we have an appointment, blah, 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 blah. And Rock is mortified.
Yeah.
So they get home. Yeah. They get home and Rock is like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's not fun. And Rock says, you were gross today.
Yeah.
And I got real Dance Mom vibes from you. Now, I never saw that show, Dance Moms. Is this?
Neither did I, but I do know that I think her name is Abby something. The dance mom, like the choreographer, was pretty mean to those girls. That's where JoJo Siwa came out of, Dance Moms. So it did spawn a few careers and stuff. I never watched it, but back in the day when it was on, The Soup was on that TV show.
The Soup,
remember that?
On with Joel McHale.
Yeah, with Joel McHale. Yes. So they would play clips of that because she was so awful to them and to the moms. Because the stage moms were even more obnoxious than the kids. So,
guys, if you didn't watch The Soup, he just went around and recapped like all the reality shows and talk shows, right?
All the shit shows that happened that week. It was
great.
Awesome.
That was great. Well, from what I understand, just my cultural context, I feel like Dance Mom is interchangeable with Karen.
Yeah, it's just
right, kind of
horrible. Yeah.
Okay. So meanwhile, Lily is playing some Taylor Swift and hanging out with their friends, and she doesn't want Charlotte anywhere near her. And I'm like, girl, same. Like, my kids don't want me anywhere near them. Charlotte has brought them a cake, but Lily doesn't want any because they have brownies. Charlotte picks one up and eats it, and we all know it's laced. We all know this.
Come on.
Later, when Charlotte and Harry are out on their date, Charlotte starts exhibiting symptoms of a stroke and says her face feels numb and she can feel her blood. Now, they rush her to the hospital, and it turns out the doctor says people your age don't know how to navigate the power of a gummy. Now, this is the time I'm going to tell a story about how when I didn't know how to navigate the power of a gummy.
Uh-oh.
So I was in Portland, Oregon on business maybe 5 years ago. I want to say it was like 2017, 2018, pre-pandemic.
Okay.
And they had weed's legal there, so you could just go into a dispensary and get something. So we went in, we got a chocolate bar.
It's legal in New York as well now.
Yes, but at the time it wasn't legal a lot of places.
Yeah.
So we went in, we got a candy bar, we came out, I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat this candy bar. So I eat a little square, and the guy specifically told us, like they always do, just one square.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But that wasn't enough for me. I ate one square, and the chocolate was really good, and I had been drinking a little bit, so I'm like, I'm going to eat another square, I'm going to eat another square, I'm going to eat another square. So I ate 4 squares. And I was at dinner, and I literally started to have a panic attack because I was so high. The room was spinning, and I started having a panic attack. So we go back up to the room, and I was staying with a coworker, and she was like an older woman. And I said to her, I know I'm having a panic attack. Now, here's the thing. I had been married to somebody who suffered from debilitating panic disorder. So I knew exactly what was happening to me. Like, I knew I was having a panic attack, but I knew it wasn't real. I consciously knew that. But I was freaking out. And all I kept saying to her was, please don't let me call 911. Please do not let me call the police or the ambulance. Like, please don't let me do that. I called Timmy. I was crying my eyes out. Like, you have to help me. I don't know what to do. I was in just a full-blown panic. And he told me, he's like, so you need to hyper focus. So he said, put the TV on and really just focus on something. And that will take you out of it. Almost like a riptide, like swimming with the shore will take you out of the riptide. So that was the night, Leslie, that I solved the JonBenet Ramsey murder.
Oh my God. So who did it? The brother.
The brother.
I knew it.
Because when I put on the TV, there was like a special, and I just hyper focused on it for 2 solid hours. And when it was over, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I was coming down a little bit, and I was like, okay. And JonBenet Ramsey's brother killed her by accident.
And the parents covered it up. They didn't want to lose both kids. So the mom writes a ransom note. Yeah.
So the doctor is correct. My generation does not know how to handle this stuff. Because we're used to you take a puff or two, move on. Like this, woof. So
yeah, that was not my environment. And like the first time I saw people smoking pot like in front of me, I was at Warped Tour backstage, and we had to interview this band, and they were like, come into our tour bus, and they're just ripping bongs, and I'm just like 16, terrified. My mom is super anti-drugs, like super Catholic, and I'm just like, holy shit, I'm in a tour bus with rockers doing drugs. It was weed, but I was like, they're doing drugs. And I couldn't focus on the interview because I was just like overcome by the fact that they were doing drugs. It was like a big thing for me. And then after it was over, I leave and I get on the subway, and everything. And I just start giggling and giggling and giggling.
Oh no. Did you get a contact high?
Yes, I did. It was insane and euphoric, and I was like, now I know why people do drugs. This is awesome. And then I got paranoid because I was like, will my mom smell it on me? Will she think that I was doing it? I didn't do it. I swear to God, I wasn't doing it, and it was like a whole thing.
And knowing what I know about your mom, she probably put the fear of God in you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. She didn't notice because by the time I got home, it was kind of late, and I just like ran to my room. I was like, I showered, and I was like, I'm going to go to bed. It's so hot, blah, blah, blah. Because it was like August, and I just like lay down in my bed, and I was like, oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. And like, I journaled about it. I need to find that journal.
Oh, my God. That's hilarious. So, yeah, we don't know how to do this stuff well. All right. So the doctor's like, you were high, whatever. And Charlotte's like, oh my God, the brownies. Now, I will say one thing. It was so sweet how Harry is with her.
Yeah.
Don't you agree?
The fact when they were wheeling her to the ambulance and he wanted to go in, they're like, no, don't go in. He's like, that's the love of my life. And like, he was almost in tears. I was like, oh my God.
Yes. They're so sweet together. I love them.
Never break them up. Do you hear this, writers? Never.
Michael Patrick King, That will be the final straw with you.
Yeah. We will come for your head respectively and lovingly. It's not a threat.
Charlotte tells Harry when she thought she was dying, her life flashed before her eyes and she was not happy about it. And she's going to call Mark Kasabian and she's going to go to work.
Yeah. So, that's what we need.
Whenever I say Kasabian, I think of Linda Kasabian. Is that the Manson girl?
Oh, I don't know about those Manson girls. I know there was one named Leslie, and that's scary.
Yeah, there's a couple. Leslie.
She just got released, actually, I read.
Yeah, Linda Kasabian, I want to say, is the one who was like older. And then there was Susan Atkins, right? I don't know.
I don't know their
names.
A
little rusty on my Manson lore. I used to have it right there. Okay, so now we're going to go to LTW, and as I call him, husband, because, you know, he's
husband Herbert.
All he does is walk around and get horned up. He really doesn't do much. Although he has a really good saying in this, really good line in this scene. So while they're at the school, LTW spies her son and his girlfriend, and they're hardcore making out in the schoolyard. First of all, how these 17-year-olds are making out in front of all these second graders, they should be ashamed of themselves.
And also, what kind of school is this? Like, what is the grade? Does it go up to?
I think it's one of those private schools that are like K through 12, like super uber private, expensive.
Because the age gaps.
Schools you and I will never see the inside of.
Exactly. Jesus. Because I was like, the grades don't make sense to me. Why are they all like in the same schoolyard?
Yeah. Yep. So, and the girlfriend like is rubbing his crotch.
Yeah.
Right in front of these little kids. It was weird. So LTW and husband are heading out for Valentine's Day, and the son wants to go to a hotel with his girlfriend. And LTW's like, there's something about this girl I don't like. Like, she had her hand right on his crotch, right in front of me, and did not give a fuck. And there's something about her, you know, that is just, I don't like it. Husband's like, look, you're not going to a hotel, but you can stay here because nobody's going to be home. So, you know. So then the kid's like, okay. And he leaves. And LTW goes, wait, call him back because you forgot to give him permission to fuck in our bed.
That was great.
I thought that was great. So husband says, look, like, we don't own him and you don't own him either. And I thought that was really insightful and interesting to remind LTW, who I think could be an overbearing mother, although, you know, we see in the end she is kind of right about this girl, but you know, that he's not property. Like, he's 17, he's an individual, and I think all mothers, myself included, need to be reminded of that sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta let the kids go. Even though you don't want them to do some certain things, they gotta learn for themselves. Because I feel like I blossomed really late in life because I was so sheltered and so protected. And that's why I got married to like the first guy, you know? So because I wanted to get out of my house. That was the only way
what happens.
I could leave, was by getting married. And so I did, and that was fucking horrible.
Yeah, and you probably you don't have enough life experience to understand.
Right.
We see this all the time in religious fundamentalist communities as well. Like, they just don't have the life experience to do it.
Oh, listen. So as soon as I turned 30 and my divorce hit, I was on Tinder. I got experience. I'm done.
I know. I was only single for like 2 years, and I was like, I got a lot of experience.
I got a lot of experience. These guys suck.
So they have a tiff about the girlfriend not having boundaries, and then LTW kind of sets up a trap on the bed that she'll notice. This is something I would do. She'll notice if those pillows were moved. And then when they get home, they discover they haven't been banging in their bed, but the girlfriend's been snooping through LTW's closet and trying shit on. And that is a bridge too far.
I would murder her. You do not touch my purses. I have so many purses. Some are
like,
labeled.
Why do you have my $20 TJ Maxx canvas bag?
Listen, I have like 3 designer bags that I love, and if anyone fucking touches them, you know, it's a Coach bag, and I got like you know, nothing too fancy because I can't really afford like a Prada bag, you know, so like these labels that I could afford when they're like super, super discounted at Nordstrom Rack. So yeah, don't touch them.
Yeah, they can go in my closet, but I'll be like, why are you just wearing black and white Old Navy dresses? Like, what's happening? So now we're going to go on to Miranda. Miranda's looking at some queer dating sites. She and Naya are hanging out in a bookstore. Miranda's complaining about the dating apps, and Naya says, I'm going to give you the advice I give my students: explore the topic, do the research, cite the examples. Okay, I appreciated that little academic reference in there. So Miranda hears a woman reading in the back room, and it's the voice of a woman who has done audiobooks of Jane Austen. And Miranda is beside herself. Like, it's like a gusher right there on the street. Like, she cannot wait to meet this woman. So Miranda waits for her outside. They immediately connect. Miranda gets all horned up and calls Carrie to say, it's on for Valentine's Day. Miranda says, it's the whole new me. I wanted her, went for her, got her. So now I know strong, sexy women are my thing. Okay, before I go any further, I just want to say this. I think it was kind of shitty for Charlotte to be like, you don't even know if you're gay. You need to figure it out when they have that lunch, which we'll talk about when we talk about Carrie. I don't think Miranda has to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, just be queer. Like, you don't have to
fit into an exact box. Yeah, because you can, but at least she's come a long way from last season where she was like, what are you doing? You're having non-binary sex. And she was like, that's not you. You know, so at this point, she's a little more accepting. Like Charlotte, it takes her a while, but she usually ends up on the right side of history. It just takes her a while.
Yeah. Yeah. But she's still like, you don't even know if you're gay and you need to decide. No, you don't.
You don't
no,
need
you
to
don't.
decide.
Guys, you
No.
don't.
No.
You do you. So Miranda's date has changed plans. They were supposed to have dinner, but now Amelia wants her to come to her house and not the restaurant. When Miranda gets there, she discovers this woman is a fucking mess and her house is disgusting and they're stepping in cat shit, which you can only imagine how that smells. And she's pretty crazy and she leaves to get the sheets from the laundry room. Miranda calls Carrie. Carrie tells her, you could leave if you want. Miranda's like, yeah, I think I'll leave.
Yeah, because
so what do you think of this?
Might have stuck around, had bad sex, and then complained about it. New Miranda's like, I don't gotta even try this shit. I'm out.
Yeah, like I thought this was a Sex in the City storyline.
Yeah, it was a moment. Yeah, I felt it.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. I thought it was funny.
I did too.
She met this woman. This woman looked totally put together.
Yeah.
But then you go to her house and you're like, house of horrors.
And like the cat was like taking over the bathroom, so Miranda couldn't even go in there to pee or anything. No.
Yep. It was pretty good. Okay, now let's get to our queen, Carrie, who, by the way, when I was watching the original series, looks like a baby. Baby Carrie.
Yeah.
She looks 17. Jesus. So we open on Carrie, and she's getting an email reply from Aiden. We open the episode on her. He's invited her to dinner on February 14th, Valentine's Day, and she's telling the girls this at lunch. She's with only Charlotte and Miranda, which you're right, is so refreshing.
Yes.
And it's interesting because we see Carrie kind of get a little down. Like, sometimes I feel like Carrie acts like she's a little too good for all the shenanigans on the show. But last week when we saw her like, oh, I totally Googled Aiden and here's what he's up to.
Yeah.
I felt that was a good moment. And she had another one in this episode where Charlotte's like, oh, does he know it's Valentine's Day? Or they're talking about that. And Charlotte's theory is he must not have a girlfriend if he doesn't know it's Valentine's Day, because the girlfriend would be reminding him.
Right.
Or he knows it's Valentine's Day and he's inviting her for that purpose.
Right.
To be romantic.
In reality, he just happens to be in town that day. You know what I mean? Like, that could be a possibility.
Miranda's kind of like, whatever, Charlotte, shut up. And Carrie's like, no, let's hear this out.
Yeah.
Like, Carrie's like, she's like one of us in those moments. You know what I mean? Where you're trying to analyze things to death. And on the specific episode that I happened to watch, it was interesting because Miranda was telling Carrie, Steve's a good guy about something about the bar. And she does it in this episode with Aiden. She's like, Aiden's a good guy. You know, like, da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay.
She always liked Aiden.
Yeah, but we all know Miranda doesn't approve of any of Carrie's choices or anyone else's.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. So We have okay. They ask Miranda what she's doing for Valentine's Day and if there are ladies on horizon. And this is what I was saying before. Miranda says she doesn't know if she's only into women, and Charlotte pressures her to know that. And I didn't appreciate that. Later, Carrie meets up with Che.
I was like,
Okay,
I thought we
no,
were done.
we got to talk about this Che scene because it has me enraged. They're walking with Che. Che's asking about Miranda because Miranda left some shit at their apartment and they have to Airbnb it because they, like idiots, bought a huge rich apartment with just a pilot made for a network. And a dog comes by. Mm-hmm. And Che literally saves a puppy and gets a job at a rescue. Now, are we like done trying to make Che a savior, Michael Patrick King? Because I need to know. He's sitting over there with his notepad and he's like, okay, the audience hates Che. I'm going to shame them.
Yeah.
By letting them watch Che be made fun of by their own community. I'm going to make Che struggle with body image so they feel bad for Che. And I'm going to make Che save puppies. Like, what else can I do to make Che the best person ever? Like, it's so,
I didn't even think about it
or whatever
that way, but it does seem like, yeah, they're trying to find ways to make the audience really like Che.
Yes. Like next episode, Che will be at a soup kitchen. I guarantee it. Feeding orphans.
Probably.
Like, come on. It's so heavy-handed. Stop.
Okay, so I think I would have been like, oh, okay, so this is the end because Miranda ignores Che's call because Che does try to call and she kind of like ignores it. And then the whole thing, it's like, okay, now Che's gonna work at a rescue, has a job, so all won't be, disastrous. Okay, goodbye. That's a good ending.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to write Che off into the sunset.
Like, that would have been, I'm happy with that ending. Like, oh, they found, a great job and a new purpose in life because clearly they're not funny.
Yep. So now we get this weird scene with Carrie and Seema, and they're going to a spa treatment. And okay, I have some questions for you around this because I've never gotten a couples massage ever. So the spa accidentally booked them for a couples massage, and they are adamant that they don't want to do this together. Do you have to have sex while you're getting a couples massage? Like, is there a requirement that you're putting the P in the V or the V in the V while the people are massaging you? Because otherwise, I don't know why you're being so weird about this.
This had me so confused because when you do a couples massage, you're not on the same table, obviously.
You're just lying next to each other on different
together. That's it. That's all it is.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to be like bumping uglies. What are you talking about?
But it was Seema, the principle of the thing.
Carrie.
I know, but the writers were like, well, it was the principle. She was standing up for like single women and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, oh, we saw this. It was a woman's right to shoes, and Carrie, shoes, Manolos were stolen. And then she made her friend get it. Tatum O'Neal buy her that. So
okay, is that the same episode where Carrie threw herself a shower?
Well, she pretty much had a registry for herself, to celebrate herself.
Okay, register for herself. Yeah. So we saw this already. I don't understand this. It was so weird to me. I don't know. It bothered me because I don't know if because they were same sex. I was like, is this homophobic? Like, what is this? I don't know what this is.
I don't know. If it would have been two dudes, two quote unquote bros, straight bros, I would get that they'd be like, I don't want to do a couples massage, but it's like two chicks. Like, come on. You don't have to be in the same room together while you undress. You
don't have to be scissoring while they're massaging your back. Jesus
yeah, basically.
It's so weird. It was so weird, and it felt gross to me in some way. So now on Valentine's Day night, Carrie goes to meet Aiden. I'm so excited about this. And they're at the restaurant and he doesn't show up. And she's like, what is going on? She calls Miranda. Miranda's like, he's a good guy. He's not going to stand you up.
Yeah.
So then he texts her and they soon discover that she's at the wrong restaurant. Now, I have a couple continuity issues with this as well.
Okay.
First of all, it's Valentine's Day. Harry was saying you can't get a reservation anywhere. Carrie goes into an empty restaurant. Okay. Now, they gave the address. What area of Manhattan are they in?
I have no idea. I
I
didn't
wanna say it
really.
was East 66th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what restaurant that was because a lot of time they do use the actual restaurants. But
Mhm.
so apparently this whole, little gaff is in honor of Michael Patrick King having to meet up with Chris Noth to talk about season one of And Just Like That, and he accidentally went to the wrong restaurant. Chris Noth is like, or Noth, I don't know how you say his name. Mr. Big essentially was like, "Where are you? I'm here in the red booth." And he's like, "Oh shit, I'm in the wrong place." And then they go to the right place, and then they both go, "I thought you stood me up. I thought you stood me up. Ha ha ha." So that's where that scene
Okay,
came from.
but here's the fly in the ointment, okay? Carrie walks in and clearly says, "I'm here for a reservation for Aiden Shaw at 8:00."
Yeah.
So did Aiden have a reservation there?
I think he had a reservation in all of the city, just in case.
It makes no sense.
Because if she
Michael
came
Patrick King,
in,
do better.
if she walked in and said, "Hey, I'm supposed to be meeting
I'm meeting
someone,"
someone. Yeah,
and they go,
yeah.
"Oh yeah, sure, have a seat," blah 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 blah. That's
Yes,
fine
yes,
because you didn't specify who it
yes.
was.
Nope. But the guy looked down like he knew Aiden Shaw made a reservation. So weird.
And that's
Okay.
not a common last name. Like if it was
No.
like, "I'm here to meet like Anthony Smith or something," that could be
Right.
common. And you'd be like, "Oh
Right.
yeah," or Dave something or the
Right.
other.
So she comes outside, she's wiggling around, not, looking at things, and he comes out and he looks great. Now, the outfit was a choice. The
Mm,
shirt was a choice. I don't
yeah.
know what's happening there. Can you explain it, Leslie, as our fashion expert?
I don't really know, but we do remember that Aiden was the kind of person who was more like homey and like comfort and flannel and kind of like working with his
Mhm.
hands. And then when he had his like, hot boy summer in season four, he was dressing a little sharper. But then
Mhm.
we know that he's now divorced and lives in New Hampshire, whatever the fuck he lives, Virginia, I think. I don't even know where he
Virginia.
lives. So, maybe this is how they dress over there. He needs to get New Yorked up.
But it was very old-timey, like, it's like what they would put Houdini in before he'd go over the falls. Like, it was old-timey straitjacket.
It
It
was
really was.
just not really
But it was black.
spectacular. It was just in
Yeah,
black and just
yeah,
like
yeah.
whatever.
I woulda had him in, like, a hot navy suit, brown shoes, like, come on, do better. So, anyway, they're out there, he looks great, they hug, then they have dinner, they're talking about their past, he says he was sorry about John, but he didn't know whether or not to call, and then I wrote, "Oh my god, John Corbett's married to Bo Derek? I did not know this."
Yes, it's
They've been together for, like,
amazing.
20 years.
Yep, it's
Did not know.
awesome. I love Bull
Did
Derek.
not know. So now they pull up to her apartment. This is the ending scene. And he stops dead in his tracks. And he's like, "You still live here? Were you not looking out the window on the Uber ride over, dude? Did you not realize you were going the same exact neighborhood?" And he's like, "You still live here?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he says, "I can't go up. There are too many bad memories here." He says, "This is where we started, but it's also where we ended. That fucking wall I couldn't break through, the floors, it's all bad and it's all in there. And I'm never going in there again." And Carrie tries to convince him. She's like, "No, it's good. It's changed. We're not who we used to be. I got a lot of work to, I put up some wallpaper,
Yeah,
whatever." And she's like, "Okay, I understand." Because then he goes, "You know what? I guess I have to leave." And she says, "I understand. Sometimes things don't work out, even though you really, really want them to." And he starts to leave, and then he turns around and says, "Fuck it. This is New York. There are hotels." And he runs to her, and they make out. And the voiceover at the end is, "And just like that, Aiden and I were on the same page.
yeah.
We're back on the same page." So that's that. That's the end of the episode. Now, what did you think? You're team Aiden, right? You're
I
not team Big.
I was never really into Big that much. I loved
Mm.
Aiden, but then I didn't like the fact that they brought him back just to break his heart, in season four.
Mhm.
Like that
Mhm.
really hurt
Mhm.
me. So I
Mhm.
felt like I got dumped too during that whole thing. So that's why I was like, don't bring him back if you're just gonna like do this again to him,
Yeah.
Carrie. You're
Yeah.
evil. Like,
That's
don't
what
do
makes
it.
me wonder if this is the end game. Like if I was Michael Patrick King, I'd be like, The ratings are in the toilet. Everybody hates me. I have to wear a hood in public because I'm so disgraced. I'm just going to marry off Carrie to Aiden, have them move to Virginia, and fuck everybody. And I'm going to take my millions and go away. That's what I would do. Like, I would end it at season 2. If he goes on to season 3, that will tell us the arrogance of him, the audacity of him.
But here's the thing. I don't want it to
I know. I hate watching this is probably the best part of my week.
I don't even hate watch it. I watch it. I enjoy it. I see the flaws and I could point them out and could see the inconsistencies of stories between the original series and this one. And just the fact that I could name an episode title off the top of my head and tell you who was in it and what happened is a little weird to me because I did not write that down. So I love this show so much. I mean, at least the original and the characters. And I felt like this was a Sex and the City episode. And it warmed my heart. It really did. Yeah. It made me happy.
And I think too, like there's... Do you hear my dog? I have a border collie.
I just heard like a thump.
He does. So the trainer actually called this the border collie thump. I didn't know what it was. It's when he lays down, he goes elbows first, thunk. And he does, like my other dog does not do this. This is a border collie thump. It's so weird. So he just laid down and that's what you heard.
Oh, wow. So cute.
So I was just telling Mary Payne, I was recording Hey Bunky with her. And I'm like, the whole kind of episode is Leslie trying to convince me it's good and me trying to convince Leslie it's not. But I feel like on this episode, we are on the same page. It was good.
Exactly. We are on the same page for the first time. Amy and Leslie are on the same page. And just like that.
And just like that, we were on the same page. All right, girl. Thanks so much for talking with me about this. Guys, we're going to try to get you an episode next Friday. There might be an issue. I'm going to be in Canada. We're trying to talk to HBO and get a screener so that we can record it early. Not sure if that's going to happen. So if it doesn't happen, if there's no episode next Friday, we'll do 2 the following week. So you will get caught up.
Because podcasting is illegal in Canada, as we know.
Yes.
No, she's on. She's going to be on vacation.
I'm off. Listen. I am getting literally a 3-day vacation all year. Aww. I'm not podcasting while I'm on my vacation.
No, don't.
No. All right. So tell everyone where they can find you and what's going on Sinister Girlz.
Well, you can find me at Sinister Girlz on the Instagram, sinistergirlz.com, the website and everything. Just, interviewing bands. I have an episode that I have to finish editing to put out with this great UK band. Spoilers, I think I mentioned them last week, but their album is amazing and it comes out
You mentioned them last week, but for some reason the end of your audio file just cut off.
Oh.
So we didn't hear any of it.
All right. So I interviewed this band, Spoilers. They have a new album coming out. It's amazing. It's really reminiscent of like the early aughts, like punk pop era, like the New Found Glory, the Good Charlotte era, like that whole thing, Fall Out Boy. Like it's very reminiscent of that. And these guys are totally cool and it's fun. So it's gonna drop this week. So yeah, check it out at Sinister Girlz.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. And you can find the show at littlemissrecap.com. You can leave us a voicemail. You can leave us some feedback. You can leave us a review, which we would really appreciate. You can sign up for Little Miss Recap Extra, where we're going to be covering reality shows like Sister Wives and stuff like that. So, just engage with the show, and we're happy to hear from you and hear any feedback. And if I'm totally wrong about And Just Like That, feel free to tell me. I welcome it. All right. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.